I'm just gonna say hello. I'm Michelle Alva. I'm gonna talk about how to embody forgiveness. And I think a lot of us are are you walking around with resentment? Any type of hurt that you haven't processed? Or is there a person that you avoid or something that you don't like to talk about because you're hurt about it? So just comment in the comment section. Let me know if you are hurting or if you're holding on to resentment or if it's hard for you to forgive. Let me know. I'd love to hear. Okay, so I'm just going to start over then. I guess it's working now. So my name is Michelle Alva, and I'm so excited today to talk about how to embody forgiveness. Because the concept of forgiveness is, I think, a really challenging one for a lot of people. So there's two little things that I just want to bring awareness to us before I even talk about that. The very first thing is, if you have ever felt hurt by anyone, or if you have ever felt that you have a hard time forgiving, I just want you to be aware that there's a perception that there was hurt caused by somebody else towards you. And like, we take things personally, right? That's why we get hurt, and that's why there's a need to forgive. So we could actually just look at life as growing opportunities, and if somebody does something that makes you perceive that they're hurting you, to remember that we're playing the victim role when we do that, okay? So what I have learned in the many years of, over 21 years of studying all these different healing concepts is that the first and foremost thing is nobody's ever actually trying to hurt you. I just want to make that really clear because this is powerful. Any person that is ever doing anything remotely hurtful towards you or towards somebody else that you love is projecting the hurt that is inside of themselves. The more I am loving, accepting, forgiving, appreciating myself, the only thing that I'll be able to share with everybody is love, acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, value and worth to people. So anybody who's ever hurt you in your life, you can just take a moment and close your eyes and ask yourself, who have I been hurt by? Who have I perceived has hurt me? Who have I created a perception of hurt from who? And what were those things that happened? And all those people that you have brought up are people that were hurting big time. And that's how they were able to overflow their hurt into your life. So I just want to say this because it's really hard, I think, sometimes for us. And this is where you can make a list of all the people that have ever hurt you or that you perceived hurt you, because that's where the hurt comes from. It comes from your perception of whatever they did as hurtful. Your hurtness that you're feeling in for years, that you're holding in your heart for years, is because you perceived whatever that person did. Your perception of that person is what's hooking you in and is what has to be healed. It's inside you. Okay? Well, he punched me, he beat me, he would, punch me with words, hurtful words. So here's the thing. It's your job to take care of yourself and leave that room, leave that space, leave that relationship. So when we talk about forgiveness, we can spend a lot of time on forgiving that person, right? And what I'm asking today is for us to first and foremost see through the eyes of compassion towards whoever it is that you perceived hurt you. That's number one. Make a list of all the names of all the people, and I'm sure you're going to be on that list too, because we do things that hurt ourselves, that are not in integrity with ourselves, right? We do that. And then instead look at that list and say, well, what happened there? What did I perceive as hurtful? And then to heal from the forgiveness, to heal from the hurtness, you can ask yourself, well, what did I learn from that experience? What did I learn? How did that help me to grow? What did that teach me? How did that experience actually make me a better person? What do I know not to do now because of what happened in that past event? And this is where deeper healing happens. Instead of you just focusing on, oh God, please, I want to forgive that person. I really want to forgive that person. I want to forgive that person. I want us to get along. I really want us to have a great marriage. I really want us to move on from the infidelity or from the abuse or whatever it was. I want to forgive that person. So here's the thing. it's about us accepting what happened. Actually, if you could feel grateful for what happened, because what I believe is that God, universe creator, loves us so much that that event, that experience in your life happened because there was something inside of you that needed to be processed or healed. And here's the thing. Did you know that we're magnets? Did you know that we attract what we are vibrating at? We attract what we are. We don't get what we want. So we're not victims in life. Whatever is coming into your life, whatever's coming into your life is what you are. And this is a really hard one for people to get. That's why I'm talking about it. So, wow, I'm attracting an abusive man. I'm attracting somebody who's emotionally unavailable. I'm attracting somebody who's a liar. Okay? I'm just saying, I'm just throwing those out there because I know sometimes we have that. I'm attracting somebody who doesn't prioritize me. So that means that on some level, we are lying to ourselves. On some level in our lives, we are not prioritizing time with ourselves. And on some level, we're not emotionally connecting to ourselves. So that might be to the deepest wounds, the deeper wounds of early childhood, or who knows, could be past life too. So those are important concepts to get. And then for forgiveness to happen, you have to look more at the light about it. So what can I grow from that? How can I learn from that? How is that a blessing? And then ultimately to embrace the past, to be grateful for it, to accept it. The more you see the good that came out of it, it's going to be so much easier than if you're dwelling on, what an asshole, I can't believe he did that. I wonder why he did that. That's another one that really hurts us. That's just saying, why did he have to do that? Why did he cheat on me? Why didn't he call me? Why did he say that to me? So you can put a circle around why, W-H-Y, and then put an X and just, delete that. You don't need to know why. And the truth is, sometimes guys, they don't even know why they do what they do, okay? I have to be honest. Like, well, I just want to know why you did that. Well, that person might not even know why they did it. We're running on our subconscious programs, so a lot of us, we don't even know why we do things, actually. So don't waste your time wanting to know, well, I just want closure. I want to know why he did that. That is not going to lead you to self-empowered healing. You're not going to wait for you to have redemption with somebody. You're not going to wait for that. You can heal right now. You can forgive right now. And the first step to really, truly embodying forgiveness, this is really important. I'm going to ask you a question, okay? So I want you to think about the most hurtful thing you've ever experienced in your life. So just close your eyes, connect to your heart. What is the most hurtful thing that has ever happened to me in my life? Where have I had the most suffering, trauma, hurt? And was it caused by anyone's actions? Just take a moment. Did I perceive myself being hurt by a person, and this was the most traumatic thing in my life? So just take a moment. Notice what comes up. And I'm going to ask you a question. Have I completely forgiven this person and myself for this happening? Am I completely at peace with the past, this past experience, event that happened? And you could type in yes or no. Let me know where you're at. So there's this answer that comes up, and it's your subconscious mind that I'm talking to. Just feel for that. Do I feel like I have forgiven, or am I still resentful? And then, watch this. Do you believe that it is possible to completely let go of resentment and to forgive this person and yourself for whatever happened in the past? Do you believe that it is 100% possible to move on from this and have peace and connection once again? Even if it's not physical, even if you never talk to them again, but you can feel connected back with this person. Do you believe that's possible? And just notice, did you answer yes or no? Do you believe it's possible to reconnect vibrationally, to have harmony, to have acceptance with this person that you have perceived you've been hurt by. And if you said no, then it's going to be really hard to embody forgiveness. So the very first place is you want to check in and ask yourself, do I believe it's possible to forgive my mother-in-law, to forgive my ex-husband, my boyfriend, to forgive whoever? Do I feel that's possible? Is that possible? Because some of us are so hurt when I even ask that question, it hurts your heart. Is it possible? Because the reality of that being possible is so far off. And it depends on how soon that wound happened. Because we go through this like acute stage of hurt, emotional hurt, just like we go through an acute stage when we get our bone broken. So the closer to the trauma, the more sensitive and like we feel it. So over time, if we haven't forgiven, it turns into resentment, and we're still holding on to that same hurtness inside of us. We've just kind of numbed out. We've closed off from that. Because our nature is to be whole. Our nature is to breathe oxygen. Our nature is to go to the bathroom a couple times a day. And guess what? Our nature is to forgive. It is our nature to forgive. Just like it's our nature to have lunch, breakfast, dinner, and just like it is our nature to be creative. That's our nature too. It's our nature to be creative. So when we're all those things, we are more in alignment with what our nature is, our essence truly thrives doing. So if there's people you haven't forgiven, that means that you're not aligned to your whole being. That means that you're not a whole person. You're disconnecting from part of yourself that you are. You are forgiveness. That is your nature. It's your birthright to forgive, to live. So you don't want to hurt yourself, right? You don't want to hold yourself down. You don't want to, I mean, it's a little harsh, but you don't want to not be living, right? You want to be living. You want to be thriving, right? Just like these wonderful trees. Look at their branches. They're shooting up and they're thriving and they're growing. So when I resent, I'm not able to grow. I'm stuck. I make myself stuck by not forgiving. So if anything, you know, some people say, well, I'm not going to forgive him. He doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve my forgiveness. I've heard that before. So guess what? You're forgiving that person for yourself. You're doing that to free yourself from the shackles of resentment, from the shackles of bitterness, and the shackles of the weight of perceiving that hurtness as betrayal and whatever shame or guilt that came with that whole experience. So if you want to embody complete forgiveness, those are the precursors. And then your whole body needs to also be a part of it. And this is where the emotional release body work that I do with my clients is the way to seal the deal to embody forgiveness. And I do long distance healing sessions and of course in person in South Florida. And what I find is somebody will tell me, oh yeah, I forgave my ex-husband. But then literally when I'm working on them, they're so tight in their chest. And when I ask them to bring their arm over their head and we work on expanding this fascia, this sheath that covers our heart, they have tightness or they'll have burning pain or shooting pain. And then they'll start to cry because nobody ever told them that they had to forgive in their heart muscle, their heart organ. So did you know that we hold repressed emotions in our body tissues? Did you know that each one of us has a memories in our body tissues? We hold our memories in our body tissues. So one of the tips that I'm going to share with you today for healing and embodying forgiveness is to lay down on your bed or on a yoga mat, you know, and bring your left arm over your behind you, left side, so that you can stretch the fascia. So in physical therapy, when we have people that have lung surgery or some type of breast cancer removal of a tumor or something like that, eventually this is our goal, is to get people to lengthen and expand and get their flexibility back. Not just physical though, there's also emotional flexibility that we need to have. Because some of us, to do this is painful because we're stretching those parts in our heart where those emotions are buried. And this is why emotional release body work, I feel, is a must for people, if they really want to embody forgiveness, it's so important to release yourself in your body. And it is amazing when you do this exercise how emotions come up. It's like little bubbles from the bottom of the ocean, poof, and they pop out and they get whew. And I also call them emotional farts, because we're releasing the gas bubble of emotions. And believe me, people, we store it in our heart a lot, and we store it in our stomach. So if you have nervousness when you run into somebody, let's just say, if you haven't forgiven someone, isn't it interesting how we run into them? We run into that person. Have you ran into someone lately that you have not spoken to? So this is the thing. Until you heal that, you're going to keep running into them. Or they're going to run into you in your mind, in your dreams, or they're just going to run into you in your thoughts. So that you want to practice this releasing technique. And if, when I do the healing sessions, I guide people to do the E3 breath, and there's 3 levels of the E3 breath. So in level 1, we inhale, 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 and we expand those tissues where we've been holding tight. And we hold our breath for as long as we can, and then we exhale, and it's a process. And as the minutes go by, people get to stretch and stretch and stretch even more, the heart wall. And as that happens, the person is so relaxed, they go into the state of brainwave state, where we ask if there's any hurt, if there's any repressed emotions of hurt, any resentment of the past, any need to forgive. Are you willing to transmute those energies now? And the person will have a release. Because our subconscious mind is our physical body. All the programming that we've had as children from birth to 7, it's in our physical body. And so many times we're totally neglecting this part of the body. So myself as a physical therapist who understands biomechanics, movement science, the anatomy, and is so nurturing and caring and very emotional person, I don't know where I would be, honestly, today if I wasn't doing these embodiment exercises to release and process my emotions in my body tissues. So that's like the cherry on top. For you, if you have had a hard time forgiving people and you don't feel that you've really forgiven and you want to, I highly recommend private message me, and I'd love to give you a phone session. I can do it over the phone no matter where you are on the planet, and we can process those resentful emotions. If you feel weighed down by your own thoughts or a need to forgive yourself, which I've discovered, it's always about us. That's the thing. We think that we need to forgive that other person, but it's not enough to just embody forgiveness for another person. Ultimately, it is always ourselves that needs to be forgiven, because on some level, I feel there's hurtness that we have allowed that person to overstep boundaries or to hurt us. So it's really important for us to do that deeper healing work, especially if we want to be an intimate, meaningful, healthy relationship with ourselves, and to be able to attract that with other people, to have those relationships with other people. And that's where I'm at right now, is kind of witnessing my life over the years and how amazing I have been able to really transform my life with these simple tools. This E3 breath is super powerful, and this process of touching my heart, stretching my heart, and feeling, first of all, what is going on in there. Because some of us have a lot of anger still, and we don't even know it because we've frozen. We've detached from that pain. It's too painful. So it's important for us to have a lot of compassion. There's a lot of people walking around with wounded hearts on the planet, or else we wouldn't be killing so much, and there wouldn't be so much rape and abuse and molestation, pain, suffering, things going on every second of the day. So it's time for us to take those blinders off. And obviously whatever we've been doing as a whole collective is just not enough. It's not enough. So I pray that this video sparks some type of awakening in you, that forgiveness really has to happen from the inside out, and that first and foremost it's ourselves that we really need to forgive. And that comes from, first of all, perceiving that we're doing the best we can, all right? Or else we would have done it different, right? So to have compassion for yourself if you caused hurt on somebody else, have compassion for yourself first and foremost, because that's going to invite a more peaceful you, a more compassionate you. And then realize that person was never trying to hurt you consciously, that we're always projecting our hurt on others. And remember that it's your perception of them hurting you that is really truly what hurts you the most, okay? And then doing the not only mental work, but the physical embodiment work by connecting to your breath through the E3 breath, which is a way of catalyzing and processing emotions. So thank you very much. If there's anything you have a question about that I just talked about, let me know. If you need any more details, go to my website, michellealva.com, and you can also contact me if you'd like to work together in embodying forgiveness. And sometimes all it takes is one session and people clear some major stuff. And I've found that forgiveness for people with high blood pressure and people that have irritable bowel syndrome, those are two diagnoses that the body is talking to us, telling us that there's some stuff that we need to process. So be grateful for your high blood pressure, be grateful for your irritable bowel syndrome. It's just your body trying to wake you up to take better care of yourself. And a part of that self-care might be not just the diet and exercise, but also checking in with, am I resentful towards anyone? Am I still hurt, feeling hurt by something that's happened in my past? Do I need to process something from the past and heal it from the inside out? So let me know how you enjoyed this video, and I'm really grateful to share this information that I feel is invaluable, because we no longer have to kill ourselves because somebody cheated on us. You know, like all those romantic stories and movies and all that stuff. Imagine if they wanted to take it personally, right? And they would have said, oh my gosh, that person's just in a lot of pain. That's why they hurt somebody they really love, me. I don't have to kill myself. I don't have to lull in a depression for years because, wow, I guess that person must have been really hurt. They don't want to talk to me anymore. They've cut me out of their life. That person must really be hurt on some level and cutting themselves out of their own life, in their own self. So that's something else I want to bring up just really quick, is all these divorces that happen. 50% of all relationships divorce, right? I think it's a little higher now. Anyway, you're actually divorcing that part of you that you can't accept in yourself. So you think your partner, you leave your partner, right? You physically don't live with them anymore. But whatever that mirror they were showing you about yourself, now you're all alone in your house with all that shit inside you still, okay? So it's not enough to just physically get a divorce and not be with that person anymore. This is where it's so important to say, well, what did I perceive hurt by that person? What is that person showing me about myself? Because if I don't like him because all he does is sit in front of the TV and tune out, or because all he does is work and he doesn't think of me, then on some level I'm tuning out and I'm not prioritizing myself enough, you see? So what if all of us could do more self-reflecting and self-growing rather than pointing the finger at somebody else and just having them leave our lives? We would have, wow, like a miracle happen in our global peace level, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I had to go through all these things in my life. I'm 43 years old now, so I've been around the block a couple times. And I realized, wow, like I really feel every day, I feel lighter and lighter and lighter and loving and nurturing and accepting. And yeah, sometimes I do things that I regret or I could have done better, but I immediately give myself a hug today and I say, what can I learn from this? And I apologize, I'll talk to the person, you know, if I did something, I'll own it. Mind you, it doesn't happen immediately. Sometimes I need to go and cry and process and release my shame and release my guilt. So I go in with myself, I spend time with my heart, and this is my life. I do the self-reflecting with my body because it's not just about journaling. You're walking with all your emotional baggage in your body tissues. And this is what's unique about what I do as healing work, is we're gonna go inside and we're gonna go to those specific places and I'm gonna teach you how to process yourself, because that's self-empowered healing. And that's what I call the Alva method, is the Alva method of empowerment. Because it's time for us to feel and believe that we can free ourselves of the shackles that weigh us down from our past. And then we can really truly live as light beings, and of course also positively impact people as light workers. So let me know if there's anything else that I could do for you, and any of these things that hopefully, who knows, maybe some of these things that I said triggered you. So that's awesome. Be grateful for that, because that means that there's something inside you that this concept of forgiveness is not resonating. And I know it's different, but it comes from quantum physics perspective, and not that old outdated belief that I just got to say my affirmations, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. What I'm trying to say is there's a vibration that we really wish to create in our bodies that is oozing out this feeling of complete forgiveness and acceptance, compassion, and this understanding that we're not victims and that we are actually creating our reality. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and call somebody if you want, text them and tell them I forgive you, let's connect. And how can we grow from what happened? So I challenge you, do that. Or you can write somebody a letter or send them an email, and you can share what you learned or what you gained from that experience, and then comment down below and let me know. Did you create a connection today? Did you heal at the speed of light? Because you are so worthy of living a life that is full of love, and where you're so excited and so grateful for your amazing heart that is so ready to heal and so ready to love. Your heart, that's what its nature is, okay? So let's all nourish our hearts and choose forgiveness. Thank you. Bye. Have a beautiful day.